Kevin poked his head around the corner. Up the street, he saw 4 more zombies. Each was busy pawing at a door or window of an equal number of houses that lined the litter-strewn, tree-lined road. He didn't like it. The road itself, that is. It was cast in shadows, even though the venerable oaks that stretched their limbs across it to form a natural archway had lost all their leaves weeks ago.
"I can't hold it much longer,"
Aaliyah whispered in his ear. "You want to go right here?" Kevin hissed. "I don't know if I'd feel comfortable taking a leak here. And it is much less of an ordeal for me than it is for you."
"More proof that God was a man and wanted to stack the deck against women early on,"
Aaliyah groused. Kevin had to bite back a chuckle. "If we stay behind that fallen truck, we should remain out of their line of sight."
"And which house are we making a run for?"
Aaliyah peeked past Kevin. "The brick one with the tall columns along the front porch."
"Why not the dark brown one with the motorcycle crashed in the fountain?"
"The one with the columns has a car parked in the driveway. The door in back is open, and I can see a car seat." Kevin explained patiently what was, to him at least, so obvious. "A car seat means that we have a better chance of scoring baby stuff." Aaliyah had to tell herself to shut her mouth.
"How in the hell did he pull this stuff out of the air?"
she wondered. Time after time, he came up with things that absolutely amazed her. And not just her. The others commented on it frequently. Even Peter, who had been making it a point to get in a pissing contest with Kevin seemingly every day. Kevin shifted his body enough to free his machete from its sheath. He didn't need to say a word. Aaliyah knew the drill. She drew her own iron spike-tipped axe handle. Kevin had shown her the disadvantages of an axe, namely the head of the axe tended to get lodged in a skull, and watched his head bob. 1, 2, 3. And he was up and scurrying to the rear of the large truck that would be their cover for the first half of their run to the house they intended to scavenge for supplies. Aaliyah followed, hating how the adrenaline rush of the situation aggravated her need to pee in the worst way. Coming up behind Kevin, she could hear the closest zombie now. His hands were clawing at the wooden door. She was willing to bet that the creature had lost most of the flesh from its fingertips. She could hear the deeper-sounding scratches that came when bone clawed at wood. Funny, the new skills a girl picked up in the apocalypse, she mused. Kevin bobbed his head 3 times and took off again. This time he was crouched low and trying to stay close to the trees that lined the road. She followed as fast as she dared while still managing to hold her bladder. It was that terrible need to relieve herself that probably made her miss seeing the rusted tin can. Of course, in her defense, it was half buried in a pile of rotting leaves. Still, her foot caught it solid and sent it clattering along the cracked surface of the road. In eerie unison, 4 heads turned, ceasing instantly in their attempts to claw their way into one of the formerly grand houses. They began to lurch in the direction of the sound. "Crap," Kevin sighed.
"Sorry,"
Aaliyah apologized. "Later." Kevin stood and moved wide of the truck. "Make for the house, but go to the one next door and use the backyard. Hopefully that'll keep them from clustering around the one we want." Aaliyah took off. As she ran, she couldn't help but appreciate the fact that, even in the heat of events, Kevin's mind still worried about the details. She paused long enough to spike a portly teenaged boy, ironically dressed in a Walking Dead t-shirt.